Um, Welcome back, everyone. It's my pleasure now for the closing to welcome Alex Horton. And Alex is the founder and executive director of the International District Economic Development in Albuquerque. And Alex is going to be talking a little bit about tools that he utilizes and that all Main Street districts can use to help all founders and try and improve the service model for economic development. So Alex, I'll hand it over to you. Thanks a lot for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean. And thanks, everyone. This was such a great event. Thanks, Main Street. This has been really fun to hear all of the communities, how they're inspiring, engaging, and doing community-based projects. I love it. I've been excited and inspired. So you all have inspired me. So I want to start it off by saying thank you. So yeah, we'll get this kicked off. So imagine, I know you see my screen. Imagine that you didn't have your phone. You didn't have your phone for a week. You didn't have your phone for 2 weeks. You didn't have your phone for a month. What would you do? Some of us are on the phone right now on the Zoom call trying to see how long this is still going to go and when is this thing actually going to be over. Other of us are looking at emails, phone calls. So what will we do without this? Now imagine you didn't have your phone, didn't have your laptop, and you couldn't find your car keys. How would you get to work? How would you communicate with emails? Me, I would be a hot mess. I'd be running around trying to figure out, what am I actually doing? What am I going to do today? I'm not going to be able to communicate. I'm not going to be able to work. Completely shut down. So where would we be without our tools? So I'm going to assume, like you, like me, I have a lot of tools in my toolbox where I have a network, I have a community behind me, you have relationships, your education, a lot of tools that we have in our toolbox. Now I want you guys to meet Dennis and Michael. Dennis is 63 years old. He has the best ribs and turkey legs. I know there's some people from Lovington, Hobbs on this call, but I'll tell you what, I'll put Dennis's turkey legs up with anyone, and then I'll put some money to back it. So you guys just let me know when we're doing a barbecue rally. We'll get Dennis and Michael to come down. But Dennis has been doing barbecue for the last 32 years of his life. And just working hard, 100% work ethic, always grinding every day. And he's a US veteran, lives in our district, and is just that community light. Always is having a good day and always has a smile on his face. Here's a look into Dennis's world. 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 work ethic, right? He's out there when it's snowing. When we do have snow out here, he's out there with his barbecue truck making it happen. He's navigating bad situations with payday lenders. Daily survival strength is a mentality, constant anxiety of the ongoing scarcity. And then he's also prey to unethical people. I'm sure we can all relate with Dennis's story, someone in our community. Dennis is missing many things that other business owners take for granted: access to capital, reliable legal counsel, hearings with public officials, social media, tech, POS systems, website, social media, you name it. And then public safety in his place of business. And as we know, resources don't get to the entrepreneurs that need it most. When PPP came out, a lot of individuals did not qualify for the PPP funding due to not having their information in a row, taxes filed, you name it. The training, know-how, gaps for missing deadlines for when grants did come out, or when there's other opportunities that they could apply on and do. And our clients need the tools to do what they love, right? Dennis just wants to go out and make great barbecue every day. And I'm really hungry right now. I know it's almost dinner time, so I hope a lot of you guys are feeling hungry too, and you're gonna go out and eat at your favorite local spot, because I know I am after this. So here's us, IDED. We were founded in 2019 Our whole goal and mission was to help businesses start, stay, and grow in the district. And if you're unfamiliar with our district, it's the International District in Albuquerque, New Mexico, from San Mateo to Wyoming, Central to Gibson, with our focus on the San Mateo corridor. And our whole thing was, how do we take over blighted properties, fix them up, and get our entrepreneurs into these spaces that can actually help thrive and revitalize the community. And we know when small businesses succeed, it's a huge impact in Albuquerque. There's less crime that goes on in activated spaces. When spaces are empty, we know what happens in there. We're helping cultivate the new generation of this entrepreneurial culture that they can actually pass down to the next generation. And then a hope and trust that gets established when there was a lot of desperation and doubt. So small businesses, big impact is what we're trying to do. And we have the model. Our clients have proven over and over again that they can succeed with resources. To the left here, we have a gym that was just getting started off in our district. It was a messed up property, was able to take over it, and now it's an activated gym. So, we all have these in our community, that one place that's ran down and God knows what happens in there, right? And so it took a community member that wanted to open up their gym. We helped them find the place, get it kind of put together, and they were actually able to turn it into a thriving area that then set up for the next business next to it. So in that strip center, you'll see in the middle, there's flowered mustard seed flowers, who now was able to open up right next to the gym because there was so much more activation going. We worked, helped her with the business model, business plan, stuck her in there. And now these businesses get to kind of thrive and create their own ecosystem. And then to the right, you have these banded up, boarded up houses where it's like, how do we work to take over some of these houses, fix them up, and then get neighbors in the community to be able to live into them, and kind of continue to fix that blight from within, not coming outside with outside developers, but the community doing the work. So over and over again, the community can make the changes necessary, just needing the resources. So we're building an ecosystem of client investors, community partners that work with our clients and meet them where they live. Our area is just to connect a bunch of different resources for the entrepreneur, whether it's access to capital, legal services, accounting. We're just meeting the clients where they're at and how we can begin to bridge. And what that also helps us do is then connect with other resources that are going on and kind of creates this hub of these wraparound supports for the entrepreneurs. So what's the one thing that matters most to Dennis? Is that he works closely with us. Every day, Dennis probably calls or texts us or the group of just, hey, I'm thinking of trying to purchase this. I need to get some cash to finance my catering gig. I'm going to go to the payday lender. And we like, no, you're not going to the payday lender. Come on in and we're going to get that fixed up for you and pay 100. You don't need to pay 120%, right? And so now he's starting to realize the things that he needs to put in place. And we love him because we know that he's doing the work. How do we just provide more tools in his toolbox that will help him succeed as the entrepreneur? It's not doing it for them. It's giving them the tools that they can go out and do the business and run it. Because if I ran the barbecue business, it'd be done in the first day because I'd burnt all the food, I'd have fell asleep, and I'd have been tired because I didn't want to wake up at 4 a.m. to get those coals hot. So what's the one thing that matters most to your clients? I know this is the end of the day. We're tired. This should almost be a Friday. It's almost happy hour. But I really wanted to open up for discussion is, what's the one thing that matters most to your clients? What are the tools that you're adding to the toolboxes for your entrepreneurs that help them succeed? And then also begin to teach other entrepreneurs the skills that they've actually learned so it can actually be passed on and helping to work the community grow. So let's talk about it. I wanted to keep this nice short, and I wanted to talk. I think there was great conversations that I've been seeing on this Main Street. I love the things that a lot of your organizations are doing, and I'm here to learn just as well. So open it up for questions. Love to hear other resources that you guys are bringing to your community. Yeah. Or we can put it in the chat. I love the silence for a little bit.
No. Can you talk about your resources and your team of people that work with you?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I apologize.
Can you talk about your resources, like where your funding comes from and who your team is?
Yeah, absolutely. So the one thing, we did this kind of unconventional, right? When I was first getting started, I said, hey, you know what, if we're doing economic development in the south side of Albuquerque, we're going to put our first money in first. So we went and purchased a building, and we opened up a co-working space right before the pandemic on Wyoming and Central. So March 1st was going to be our April 1st was going to be our opening day of 2020 to bring entrepreneurs in the space. But how we get our funding, we do work with the city with contracts, a lot of private, right? We're really working on a lot of outcomes based. And so we've really been able to lean on a lot of private businesses to come and help support our organization. Foundations, the community foundation was really huge with us in Albuquerque, supporting us to help get started as well. The rest, we do have fees and contracts that we do to help bring in revenue to our organization.
Cool.
So one of the things that we see here in Lovington a lot of times is that we have people that are undocumented, and so they're not able to access traditional lending. I was curious as to how do you guys assist them, and is there anything out there to help them, right? Because a lot of times these are people that have owned businesses in the past and have been able to do that successfully. However, our system is very different. So getting them into that space and being able to provide them is a completely different issue.
Yes, absolutely. So our area is the international district, right? So we work with refugees, undocumented individuals, I mean, you name it. And so we've actually partnered with a program, two programs. One is actually someone on our board, is Levanta Lending, and it's all about character-based lending. And so we've put together the program that we coach along our businesses, and then he actually writes the check, right? So undocumented or not, it's really micro lending. So it's about $15,000 and less. We're trying to see how we can get that threshold up a little bit more. The other program that we work with is Co-op Capital, which we're able to actually give 5% interest rate loans. We do all the underwriting and zero of the service. So I don't have to hire a loan manager or someone else to actually oversee it. Us as a committee come together, we approve it, we send it to Nucinda, they cut the check as we're underwriting it. So we've kind of created the criteria, and I hope that Nucinda can actually stretch that out to different parts of the city, because it's a great program for us. We were able to actually raise money in there instead of opening up like a CDFI or a loan fund. We were actually able just to raise money into this Co-op Capital account, and it started off with $100,000, and then we can just keep raising from there. We can hold the note for 10 years, even though that's a bad loan. We wouldn't do it for that long, but we can hold it for about 2 to 5 years with the entrepreneur, kind of setting up their terms. But if they got behind or something happened, it's really nice being able to make it flexible where we can push out a payment, defer a payment, wrap it around on the back end. So that's and we can lend to undocumented, and that's been the best part. We don't have to have a social. All we need to be able to do is have a driver's license put in there, and if they're working with us on the program, we can get that loan approved.
Hey, Alex, there's a question in the chat from Molly B, who says, how do you narrow down who you help? I know everyone will want help, but how do you make sure they are in it for the long haul?
Oh my gosh, such a great thing. And I had to learn that as the hard way, right? You go into this and you just take everyone on. Who wants to open a business? Let's do it. Let's sit down. Let's see how it goes. And then you start realizing that a zoo on Central and San Mateo might not be a viable business. And so then we've started kind of doing applications and first meetings, asking questions, right? And then give the entrepreneur homework. And usually the entrepreneurs that would go back home and actually do the homework and then bring it back, they kind of self-filter themselves. And coupling with that, we've started a once a month. If you're thinking of getting started with a business, come to this class. They get to kind of vision, put their ideas out. And then that also filters out a lot of the entrepreneurs that might not be serious at the time or might not be the right time for them to do it. So that's kind of our way of how we kind of filter it. We kind of do it two different ways. We have people that can kind of schedule an appointment with a few of the advisors as a one-time consultation of just seeing what we need to do, and then giving them some homework and kind of going from there and seeing if they're wanting to get into the program or go forward. And the one thing I will say is we don't do any advertising because it's 100% referral based into our program. So that's kind of the other part as well too, where it's either other entrepreneurs that we're working with. We're really trying to focus in the international district. So we didn't really open up this program to serving the citywide. We're really only focusing on this demographic area. So we partner with other organizations that don't offer entrepreneurial support to then actually they're actually making the referral. Hey, I have a lady who's trying to open up XYZ, will you sit with them? And so now the organization is feeling like they're helping out their entrepreneur because they're getting them to a spot that can help because that's out of their wheelhouse. But then also they're kind of doing some of the pre-vetting for us, like, hey, they go to all my meetings. They're actually really serious about this. She's been talking about it for the last 3 months. And that really helps our retention. Everyone that's been referred to us, we have not lost as a client in this process.
Great. We have a request if you maybe at the end of your presentation, if you could put your contact information in the chat so people have access to it.
Yes, absolutely. I could put my information in the chat. Yes, love to talk. Before I did this, I used to go out to Carlsbad and Hobbs. I had a lot of clients down in the risk management side in the oil field, so it was fun. I enjoyed making that drive. It was a long drive, but kind of going back and forth. So yeah, I'll put my contact information in the chat, no problem.
And Alex, could you talk a little bit about Growth Wheel and your experience kind of using that platform?
Yes. So I guess I will say I was the guinea pig on the Growth Wheel. There was a collaborative called Color Theory trying to connect a bunch of entrepreneurial organizations together, making the intake process a little faster. And that's probably been the best tool I've probably used. It counts as a CRM, and it also tracks the entrepreneur has to do the work. So if they haven't got to the next phase of where we're working on the plan, they'll say, hey, Alex, I'm ready for the next meeting. I can go on there and look at it and say, well, hey, man, you didn't put together your budget or your projections. Oh, well, I was thinking I could do that next, but I really need to work on the market. It's like, no, let's get those finished up and we can go. So what it does is it keeps the entrepreneur accountable and it keeps the advisor accountable. So if I'm not available to take this meeting, I can pass it off. And then my other advisor can hop on and say, oh, you talked with Alex about XYZ. Great. I see your projections are in. What are we working on here next? And that software really helped us to be able to scale the amount of clients. I would say each advisor can talk to keep with about 30 entrepreneurs. So then that keeps us a capacity of working with about 90 entrepreneurs at a time. And so that's the part that that really helped me out. And if they stop, pause, no matter what phase they're in, you can get them started on, you can plug them in on Growth Wheel, get them the tools that they need. I do also like it because it's a skills-based process where the entrepreneur actually gets to see like, where are they most proficient in? So if they're a marketing group and they're like, we're great at telling our story, we're not going to spend 37 hours on a marketing plan with you, right? And when you're really saying I'm horrible at financials, well, we're going to go and we're going to work on the financial plan, and we're going to leave that up to you to get your marketing plan put together because that's what you do. So And then it kind of tracks it. So each quarter, after we've set up these 30, 60, 90-day plans, we actually go back through and track it with the entrepreneur and see where they're at again. So doing another skills assessment and being able to see where they're feeling comfortable in and seeing that needle move, and also seeing if our program is being effective for that entrepreneur. Thanks for saying that, Sean. That's like probably the ace in the hole. If you're not using a software, I would absolutely share any of that information. It's a really great software to use for your organization on helping, and they train you. They'll virtually train you and anyone else that needs to do it. And it's a great software. Workshops, you can do workshops on there. I mean, there's, you name it. It's all accessible. We can probably even put that in the chat if Sean hasn't already.
Great, thank you. We have a question from Charles and Taos. And he asked if you could talk a bit about your pitch to private capital to fund your organization. And specifically, what are the types of things you like to touch on to get them interested in funding you?
Yeah, it's great because, I love going to the meeting where everyone says how terrible Albuquerque is and how terrible the southeast part of Albuquerque is, right? Crime, there's drugs, there's all this stuff. And it's like, great, the stage is set for us to go and talk about what we're trying to do to make it work. And so our whole thing is, if we help elevate this part of Albuquerque, and I know Taos might be different, but if we're working to elevate this part of Albuquerque, it actually supports all of Albuquerque as a whole. So it doesn't matter if you live in the Northwest, the Northeast, and just being bought in on the process of like, this is outcomes based. This isn't like, we're just going to go out here and create something just to do it. I mean, this is outcome based. These are businesses you can go see. These are people you can go talk to. And it took a while, right? It took meetings like, oh, you will never be able to do that in this side of town. You'll never be able to get people to come and move a business into this area. And then you start doing it, and then people are like, well, maybe we can. How do we support this now, right? Can you come and help us out? So I think it's just, if you're really rooted in the community and you have the backing, the dollars will come, right? And if you have a real kind of thought out plan of what you're trying to execute in there and being really specific where, hey, our prongs is working with real estate revitalization without displacement of folks, entrepreneurship, and access to capital, right? So those are the three things that I always touch on every time, every presentation, 110 times. And for Taos, my wife's family is all from Taos and their last name is Martinez, but they said everyone's last name is Martinez up there. So I don't know if that's correct.
I actually lost you for a bit, I think.
Oh,
Just had a bit of a
oh,
chip.
so sorry, I got back on. I'm sorry, my internet kind of. Was there another question, Sean, or what was the last part you heard? Sorry.
It was just that everyone in Taos is named Martinez.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you know what? I thought I said, wow, I must have really hit the nerve because everyone was quiet. I thought it was a joke, but everyone was quiet, but my screen just froze. So.
Okay, I'm going to say something. Hi, Alex. Marie Longsteer here. So good to see you and all the great hear about your great work you're doing. That's awesome. So my dad has a caretaker in San Antonio, Texas, because he's elderly. And I spoke with her one night. She works the night shift. And she said, I'm Rosemary Martinez. And I said, where are you from? She said, Taos. She said, everybody in Taos is named Martinez.
Yes, I knew it. When I went up there, I'm like, I'm looking for the Martinez, and they point like this, so.
So Alex, we have a request to speak more about Growth Wheel. So I guess if you could talk a little bit more, I guess, about just maybe take the picture out a little bit and talk about just what it is and how people might be able to engage with it or learn more about it.
Great, Sean, did I break out when I was talking about Growth Wheel a little bit, or?
No, you got it, but I
Oh.
think it was very much
Yeah,
yeah, you were talking about it if we had just a little more just general information about what Growth Wheel is and like maybe how you got hooked up with it. And
Yeah, absolutely. So how I actually got, and I'm gonna just pull up this little piece right here is kind of the skills assessment chart that I was looking with. I got hooked up with a network. It was a network of Entrepreneur Resource Center, so ESO. So it was the South Valley Economic Development Center. It was Run Host Consulting. It was Wes. It was Encuentro and New Mexico Dream Team, and then us. And the whole goal was, and I'm sure you guys see this in your communities, is that if there's another group helping entrepreneurs and they come to your organization and then you do a whole intake on them, and then you're like, oh, you know what, Wes is actually going to be a better fit for you. Let me call Agnes and let me get you sent over to Wes. Then they go over to Wes and then they have to tell their whole story again, right? So Growth Will was meant to actually say, hey, we want to work on the media part with you, but you're a food truck, so you should be at SVDC. And what it would is the advisors could actually share the entrepreneurs' information as long as they consented. And you could work with someone at South Valley, you could work with someone at West, and it's all kept in one kind of information for the entrepreneur, and was supposed to make it more seamlessly. After 2 years, we've barely started that. I've continued to use Growth Will for our organization, and what it really does is track whatever stage the entrepreneur is in, right? And it goes over all of the 4 key elements of opening up a business. And again, it's right there. And I don't mind sending some more of this information out, Sean, as well. But that's kind of how I got hooked up. Our organization still pays for the license, even though it was purchased as a cohort with this group. We've continued to use it and actually have added on more advisors to use. And the best part is if I'm not running the organization after 3 years, there's all that information in there. And the other part is that the entrepreneur owns the information. So if they're done working with your organization and they've excelled, they're good, and they've put their whole secrets of how to do all this work in, they can actually call Growth Will and they can keep all of that information. So it's theirs. It's not even our information. It's the entrepreneur's information. They're just willing to work with us and share it.
Great, thank you. Marie, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm a Growth Will advisor. I've been for about 4 or 5 years, 6 years now. And I met the guy that started it in Amsterdam. And I'm so excited to hear that you're working with it down there and it's working well, because it has a visual component. So the whole concept is people have to make decisions in order to run a business in advance. Everything you do, you got to take a decision. So how do you make a good decision? And those tools, they're color coded, they're visual. We've used them a lot with creative people because they can see where their gaps are. And they've, over the last 10 years, developed all these worksheets and little specific topics that you can give to people that they can take away and work on. And those are all available to you. And I think we pay around $1,000 a year for our license. And then we have to get certified every couple of years. We have to go back and take classes to get certified and recertified. And they keep adding different aspects to it. So I'm just so excited to hear it's working for you. And I love the tool and think it's wonderful. And that's why we keep doing it.
Oh, thanks, Marie. Yeah, for our loan template, we actually used from color theory of putting together from Growth Will, actually putting together some of the questions that we've asked, the budget template. And actually, when you send it actually to a bank, one of our board members is a banker, and we sent him the projections, because that was the biggest thing I was telling David. I was like, hey, this is great, but there's nothing for the entrepreneur to project out. And so when we changed that, adding projections 3-5 years, it's great. So really your entrepreneur gets to actually envision where I'm starting at, if I'm just starting out, to where I ultimately want to be. And here are the steps that I need to do to get there. And like Marie said, it's all about them making the decision. Is this the area you want to move? And they're like, yes, this is where I'm going. And it's empowering. It's an empowering tool more than anything, because they're making the decision. And so they won't feel like after they get their business up and running, oh man, where would I be without, I need you here to help me make every decision that I'm doing. But they've been making decisions this whole time, putting together their whole plan. And now you're just off. It's training wheels for your bike. And then, yeah. So thank you, Marie, for that, for diving in for that.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? Verbally or in the chat? Seeing none.
Lovington is way cooler than Hobbs and Carlsbad. I love it. Yes, I loved your presentation yesterday with the food truck. Trailers is so great. I am definitely gonna go down to Lovington.
We'd really love to have you present at one of our, during our food truck program, actually. We talk a lot about funding and the different opportunities that there is out there. And so that was the reason why I was asking about undocumented, because that's always an issue for us. We do have candidates that don't, and like, we want to help them. Their business plan is there. They've gone through the program. They know how to do it. And then that's it, right? Like, that's where it ends. So we'd really love a chance to connect. I'm going to give you a holler next week. And we are cooler. Sorry, Kat.
Man, I love it. And you know what I love even more is that it's probably like from the Albuquerque's west side to the east side to going through Lovington, Carlsbad, and well, maybe Hobbs is a little further. So it's maybe a little further, but I love the rivalry, the fun on there. That's great.
No hard feelings.
Okay, well, Alex, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all the work that you're doing. And thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you guys. And hey, thank you for Main Street. This was so great. I learned so much. I had a full book full of notes on here. So I'll be reaching out to people as well too. And I really appreciate everyone for putting this thing on. This was such a great event. And I appreciate you, Sean, for having me be on here.
Wonderful. Thank you again. Daniel, are you on? Or were you ready to close this out? All right.
I am on. Hopefully my camera's on. So yeah, thanks, Alex, for closing us out on a good note, and we appreciate you sharing those tools with us. And for those of you that don't know, part of our new urban commercial corridor program, Alex and the International District EDC that he works with runs is actually part of our inaugural urban commercial corridors program, along with another with San Pedro Avenue in Albuquerque and Sila Rufina in Santa Fe, as well as Airport Road. And some of those guys have joined us as well. So we appreciate you sharing that with us. And we welcome you and the International District to our network, and are really looking forward to working with you more as we move forward. But I wanted to just thank, everybody for sticking with us. Sean and Robin for bringing us some really, really great content and all the work they did just to, again, mold that into a virtual conference. And, you guys all sticking with us and your participation in the breakout groups. I think for me, when I've seen, yesterday and today, the business support projects that all our local directors put together and shared their projects, it just really put a huge smile on my face, because it kind of reminded me, almost 4 years ago when, I was just working on revamping the EV position when Keith left us when he was retiring and moving on to other things. But I mean, I just, all our new folks, that have been with us, they're not new anymore, because this is like their 4th year. But it just, all the projects I saw you guys were doing, it just put a smile on my face. Is exactly what I was envisioning or hope we could, the type of projects that we could do, just working as a team, because it is a partnership, state, local programs, and, your local governments, and, all the stakeholders in your district. So just great job. Really enjoyed all your projects, and I appreciate you sharing them with us, in the larger network, because I know there are things that everybody can build off of. But just to close, I know we were, we moved this to a virtual one. We were in Farmington in the fall. My goal is to have another in-person late summer / fall institute. So, I'm going to be meeting with the team, after we get over this and then the session, but probably next month, and we'll be talking about, putting out a call to see which communities are interested in hosting. So, think about it, if you are interested, think about it, talk to your, your other folks in your community and your local government partners, and we will be putting something out to have another in-person, but in again late summer, early fall. But outside of that, I will look forward to seeing those of you that are going to make it to the national conference. I'm sure those of you that will be sharing your presentations there are going to be. We're going to be super. I'm excited that you're going to be sharing them with other programs throughout the country. So I think there's a lot they can learn from the things you guys are doing. So yeah, with that, it looks like we're ending early. Everybody gets a little break. Hopefully you don't have to jump back into work right away. You can wait till tomorrow to jump back into it. But really appreciate everybody, all the work you guys do, and just looking forward to keeping it moving, right? So, again, just think, I mentioned yesterday, Resiliency Alliance grants, really start thinking about those now. Me and Lucas and Amy Barnhart is working with us now. We're going to be putting that application out here as soon as we know that the Resiliency Alliance got funding. But think about more EV projects. We did those 2 weeks for 2 years. We really honed in on EV projects and super successful. And I think we would love to see some more of those. So think about them. Talk to Sean, Michelle, Ria, everyone else on our team, because I think it all kind of works together, right? Because even on some of these EV projects, I know Leet and Moon did a lot of work as far as design, graphic design. I know Robin contributed and others as well. So just looking forward to getting that out and seeing everybody when we get back to the field. So thanks all, and appreciate all that you do.
Thanks, Daniel. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Thanks for coming.